Welcome everyone to episode number 114 of the Broken by Concept #1 League of Legends solo queue motivational podcast or improvement podcast.
Yep.
First up here, Curtis. This has been a big week for me. I feel like a kid in Christmas again.
Yeah.
Christmas in July. We're in
August.
Christmas in August.
Yep.
The Udyr Rework.
Big.
This has been 9 years in the making. You know, I for people that don't know the context, when I first started playing League, my initial climb back in Season 3, I got from Gold to Challenger, pretty much exclusively playing Udyr, and then from Challenger, which was top 50 back in those days, there was no Master or Grandmaster, it was just Diamond 1 and Challenger. I got to Rank 2 playing Udyr. I was very known for my Udyr. When I played competitive, it was permagan banned against me, even though it was not meta. No one played it. No one played it my style, right? This is awesome. I'm so excited. I've got some of my initial thoughts. So this is my process for learning the champion, by the way. Champion came out. I just went straight into normals with it.
Yep.
Because... we talk about not playing normal stuff like that. I'm not going to go into ranked on my main. I tried to queue up for ranked, but it just got permabanned. So I tried to do blind pick and stuff like that.
Right.
Like literally like see you later. No one wants to see it. I think on their team as well.
Yeah.
So I played top combination of about 7-8 normal games to get up to speed. The first game, we'll going back and forth with Discord. The first game I played, I was super overwhelmed. Like this is a completely different champion. I initially thought, okay, this actually could be the worst champion in the game, right? Which is ridiculous. Why am I taking one conclusion from one game, right? I had no idea how it worked, how it felt. Second game started to get hang of it. Third game, fourth game, seventh game. And initial reactions, Riot have done a bang-on job with this. The feel, I'll bring it back to, remember Proxon? The video we did with Riot Proxon talking about patch balance. He was talking about champion design. And he asked me, how does Elise feel with all the combination of all the abilities? And, I said, I just took it for granted. I basically said, yeah, it feels pretty good, right? You do your combo with Elise and then you go in spider form and do that.
Like the timings feel good when you go in and out of the form.
Yes.
Yeah.
The previous Udyr felt horrible because everything was based on 3 auto attacks. And you want to get you do your burst, you switch your stance, you do, let's say, Phoenix stance, right? And then you do your initial fire thing, and then it's 3 auto attacks, and then it procs again, right? So you would stay in that stance for 3 auto attacks. And something about that third auto attack felt really awkward. And everyone was going lethal tempo because you wanted to get that off really quickly.
I didn't even know that. That makes sense, though.
Right? So now what they've done with the champion is now everything's based on 2 auto attacks. So you'll switch in stance, you do 2 auto attacks and switch stance, 2 auto attacks,
Why
switch
is
stance.
it 2?
That's like, so you have 2 empowered abilities with that.
Okay.
And then you'll switch stance. And the idea is that you're always switching stances because that the empowered, the 2 auto attacks, that reduces your passive, which is like your overload, which is that yellow
like
bar. And that's where you get the empowered ability.
Wait, so you're saying you get it faster when you switch?
So the idea is like 2 auto attacks, the cooldown in your overload goes down, switch stance, 2 auto attacks. If I just did 4 auto attacks, I'll have no overload.
Yeah.
It just takes too long, right?
Interesting.
So that's the idea, the general premise. And it feels beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
So the identity of the champion is very similar though, right? Like they've kept the identity. You're there to create space, CC.
Yep.
Tank, etc. But now you have just more utility, right?
So my problem with Udyr in the past was Udyr was this super strong champion early game, with Tiger stance. Like everyone knows the Tiger stance.
You could beat anyone, duel anyone.
Right? But he was a full clear champion. So it was this really awkward, like I'm full clearing, but I'm super strong early. Like you could invade.
Right, so you got good clear, but you also can fight early. So what do you want to do? Do you want to full clear and be efficient, or do you want to...
And you've got to full clear because why would you not do it, right? And then he just dropped off like a truck. If you get behind that champion, the champion's just totally useless.
Even if you got ahead, it wasn't amazing.
Yeah. You probably weren't that scared of an Udyr, were you? No. Like, except for that Udyr meta, but that was because...
Yeah, that was Chemtank. When Chemtank was really strong, Udyr became meta, but yeah.
So what they've done now is that they have... his early game is much weaker, and his team fighting, it's like a scaling tank. It's unbelievable. The utility, you're so much more useful. And this is like as a full tank champion and playing for team fights, that's how I played it in season 3.
So they really made it easier for you to play that identity. Yes. I felt like before with Udyr that it was very all over the place in terms of identity.
You would see a lot of outdated.
Yeah, you didn't really know how to play it. Did you go for damage and What did you do? But now I think it's like it got a very clear identity, right? Now, so from a feel perspective, it feels good. Obviously now, the way even Froxon said, they like to make champions strong at the start because when they release it, they want to get the sample size up.
Yep.
Do you think that it only feels good because of the numbers, or do you think that the underlying kit is still strong, and that even when they nerf the numbers inevitably, it's still going to be all good? Like, you sure you're not getting biased was what I'm asking based off the initial numbers being high at the start?
So when I say feel the champion, again, it's got nothing to do with numbers, right? I definitely think the numbers will probably be a little bit tuned. Maybe
what is overtuned at the start, by the way? What do you think is overtuned right now?
I think that the slow is on the R is maybe too much. Like I think that maybe they reduce it. I don't know what the percentages are, but I feel like they can't run away from you if you need a R. Maybe the W empowered W, which is that really big shield, might be a bit too much.
What do you max? So you max E first, which is the thing that gap closing gives you movement speed.
No. So the way that you...
So how does the ability
work? I'm starting with Q, and that just helps you do the early clear.
Do you max Q?
No, you don't max Q. You start Q, max R, W second.
Well, you max R.
Yeah, which is the Phoenix.
So you max R for the slow. So what do you max R for?
Well, it's the AoE. You AoE. So think about it, right? So
because you want to create space with the slow and utility.
The slow, and you just do more damage.
So what do you get when you put points in your E though? What do you get for it?
I actually don't know.
Because what do you level up E?
I assume it would be...
So E the main... Okay, so walk me through what's the main selling point for each ability. So when you think of the Q, why press Q? Why press
single
W?
target damage. Single
Q's
target burst.
it's where your damage is coming.
W, shield, defense, and a little bit of lifesteal healing with empowered.
Okay.
E is your move speed, so you can get people, and you can go... The empowered is your invulnerable. You become like an Ornhorn.
So that's like more of like a situational thing. Like you'll do that when you're versing CC, essentially.
That's right.
Okay.
And then R is AoE damage.
AoE damage.
And slow.
Okay.
All right.
So it helps you peel / create space, stick on people, etc.
And you're just running around and just doing lots of damage, you know, because
Phoenix stance was terrible before. I feel like I hated Phoenix stance.
That's how I played in season 3.
Yeah,
dude.
just something about it, dude. I don't know.
It was sloppy. It's super
sloppy,
outdated.
Yeah, now it does make a lot more sense. So now walk me through what are you going to do with this Udyr? So you obviously you've got your Rek'Sai, you've got your Volley, you play a little bit of Trundle.
Nunu, Jarvan.
Yeah, Nunu, Jarvan. You've got a few of these shares. But your babies, I'll say Volley, Rek'Sai, right? They're your
That's
two
right.
bread and butter.
Yeah.
Where does Udyr fit in your pool? How are you going to utilize it? What's your goal with Udyr? How are you going to use the rest of the season? What's your plan here with solo queue, Udyr, etc.?
Great question, Curtis. So I played those 8 normal games, and I went straight into my main playing Grandmaster Challenger games. I was pretty comfortable with it. I feel like I picked the champion up really quickly. Again, I think
because you already know the identity really well, the feel.
Yeah.
Okay,
I just had to get it down and really understand it. It's going to be I feel there's many levels to this champion. There's lots of champ mastery here.
Yeah,
I'm really excited. I'm going to make a guide, so I'm going to be spamming the shit out of this.
So that's your main goal right now.
I want to make this champion my main.
So he's going to overtake
Rek'Sai. Yeah.
Okay, so you want to be known like you were in season 3.
I feel like that this champ is made for me.
Yeah.
We were talking before about how TV shows have like casts, right? That just fit that. Like I've got
an actor
it.
fits that specific role.
It's like you can't think about any actor. Like maybe it will wear off. Maybe this is just the excitement of the beginning, but I love it, dude. Maybe there's definitely lots of counterplay to it, especially maybe when it gets nerfed a little bit. I can already visualize playing against your Ari and Cassiopeia. Probably won't be fun. The E would help me a bit. I imagine if I outplay your R with my empowered E, you can't stun me, dude. I just get on you and slow you and stuff.
You have more outplay potential than you did before, that's for sure.
They've added a way bigger skill to Udyr 100%.
Which is
you have
great.
the time, which is fantastic.
That's amazing.
And there's obviously still clear counterplay, all that sort of stuff, right? So I'm super excited. I'm going to be spamming that. I've probably played 10, 15 games so far.
So are you brave enough right now to play it on your main?
I was going to get it, but it gets banned still.
Oh, right.
It's getting banned.
Okay.
I played 2 games yesterday, but I had to play Volibear because
it's just banned every game.
It just gets banned.
Okay. Will be interesting. I'm looking forward to the guide. So that's your short-term goal, and then next season, that's going to be your big season. What's season next season?
13.
Season 13 is the Udyr season.
Yeah, we'll see how we go.
All right.
Maybe I'll get bored of it. Who knows? It's only the first couple of days, Curtis.
Could be, what do they call it when something's just like not novelty, but it comes out. It's like honeymoon. It's like the honeymoon period.
Yeah, but I mean, I love it, dude. Udyr's just my god champion, dude. I will stick it out, even if the champion gets nerfed to the ground, I'll be happy just sitting at maybe like 300, 400 LP, and that's just my identity.
Because you enjoy it so much.
Yeah.
And we talk about that. You got to love the champion you play.
I'll see how far I can take this champion. That's my goal. That's what I get really excited about. Like,
see what the champion's capable of doing.
Playing and mastering the perfection of everything. I'm going to be obsessed with that. That's what I want to do. And
that's a powerful mindset, man. If you can have that, man, you like really embrace that mindset. That's where you get a lot of success in solo queue. Because you're not thinking about the LP. They bring it always back to attention to detail.
Attention to details. Every
I love it.
Bit of movement. Oh,
I'm shaking in my boots when I verse your Udyr in solo queue.
Oh, not at the moment, Curtis. I think that I'm still got a lot of work to do. All right, moving on here, Curtis. So,
what are we looking at here?
Talking about this podcast, what we do. We like to show clips here and there. Talking about how we deal with the chaos of solo queue, the realities of solo queue. The big thing that I really like to emphasize in this podcast is, we don't live in fairyland. We're practitioners, right? We get the same things in our games, AFK trolls, as everyone else. Just because we play in Challenger and, doesn't mean that, the game's different. We emphasize, we show many examples. So I want to show here another example of the way that I deal with getting spam pinged. All right, so something just really simple, not getting, people like to say I get mind controlled. The theme of this week in Soul 2, my Jungle Academy, our reviews has been, guys, be confident in your game plans and your decision making and the way that you view the game and how to win the game. Because I have so many of my clients that I've gone over these like ganks and stuff so many times, and they know that it's bad. And then they say, I can hear in their tone, it's like, oh, why am I going? Like, they just know it's bad. But then, they say, well, I got spam pinged.
Right.
I got mind controlled.
So they're being influenced by other people spam pinging them. And then that's then leading them to make decisions or compensating in a way, right?
It's just purely compensation.
Okay. Yep.
And that's been a huge common trend, especially in my platinum diamond reviews. It's getting out of control. Recently.
That's one of the hardest things about the jungle role.
It is,
isn't it?
Yep. You can get mind controlled very easily.
You got to be very, confident.
Confident, yeah. And that's what I'm trying to really instill. And I feel like if I'm there telling them this is the right decision to make, no matter what people say, it's like, what are you going to do? I hope I can give them the confidence. This is Challenger, one of the top junglers in OS, is telling you this is the right play. I'm trying to give them that confidence.
Yeah, I like to frame it like no one in this game knows what you want more than you.
That's right.
That's what I always bring it back to.
Especially if you have a clear way of win condition and the way you see about winning the game.
But they don't know what you want.
No.
You know what you want. You
can't expect them to.
And you can't expect them to. That's right. Spot on.
And that's where people sometimes fall over. So I want to show you guys here. It's like, I accept that people don't know what I want to do in the game. And I'm just going to I have a toolkit to deal with that.
Okay.
All right. So let's play out this clip. And for our podcast listeners on Spotify, I'll talk through the information that I'm going through here.
So this is a recent solo queue game.
Recent solo queue game. Played this week. Played this game with you.
Yep.
You were my mid
So I'm
laner.
the Cassiopeia.
You were playing Cassiopeia. So looking at the champions this game, I think I tab here in the earlier stages. All right. Let's go a little bit back.
So we've got here we go. What do we got? Olaf top.
We got an Olaf top. You're playing Cassiopeia mid. I have an Ashe Lucian bot against Misfortune, Nyla, and a Vex against Vex, Wukong, and Urgot topside. So I'm identifying this game. Top side's going to be my win condition. Cassiopeia is so good into this very long range top side.
Yep.
And, Lucian Ashe is not really a good pairing in my eyes.
Yeah.
Usually Lucian wants to be paired with like a Nami or something like that. So I'm sort of like, my mindset this game is literally, I'll see what happens bot, but I'm happy for my bot to go 0.
Yeah, because you got a heavy trading melee versus melee match up top.
Yeah.
You've got Cassio, which really good into their comp. Like if Cassio gets ahead, it's kind of game over. And then you've got and Vex is pretty vulnerable as well. Like Vex has no mobility.
Absolutely. And she's got flash.
She's got
flash ignite.
Yeah, flash ignite, no TP. Okay.
All right, so let's play it out. So I'm, obviously starting
bot side because you want to pass this up. You're on blue side here, starting red. So you do red Raptors. So you're just panning your camera all the lanes just to kind of see what's going on.
It looks like Urgot leashed right there, top side. So I know that I'm potentially going to be pathing opposite.
So Wukong is going to be pathing bot side.
That's right. And now I'm already thinking, okay, my bot lane's going to die, but I'm going to ping it. but that's it. So I'm looking at lanes, I'm looking at mid, I'm looking at top. I'm looking at mid, so really paying attention mid right now because what I love to see is when laners go to ward, right? Especially around my win condition.
Yep.
So I see Vex leaning bot side. You're leaning bot side. I'm just doing my Gromp.
So you're doing Gromp
to get
now.
level 3. It's funny. Remember how we talked about how do you get level 3? Red Raptor's Gromp curse.
Yep, Red Raptor's Gromp.
Raptor's Gromp, right? I'm assessing. See Vex has just gone missing mid. I'm looking at that. I'm panning my camera.
And you see top is very heavy trading.
Yep.
So what just happened top there is you should pause here.
So
you're on your Gromp. You just finished your Gromp. You just got your level 3. And was it Olaf? What did he do? He went for a dive or something?
They just tried to fight, I think. And my Urgot solo killed the Olaf.
So the enemy Urgot solo killed your Olaf.
That's right.
Okay.
The biggest thing here, Curtis, is I have seen Vex has warded bot side.
Vex water bot side.
All right. And remember, you didn't ping this. I knew this just myself. Okay.
Yep.
So this is just how much information you
Yep, that's really good.
All right. So right now, there's nothing for me to do top. I don't really do anything mid because you're level 2 and all that sort of stuff. Just doing my camps, doing my blue buff.
Olaf TP's back top. What's happening with the wave top? So you don't really care about top? What's your thought process here?
So I'm looking at top right now. I'm pretty comfortable. I don't see a dive.
Because Urgot is just going to reset, right? And TP back or something?
Urgot's already come back to lane. Remember?
Oh, did he just TP? Did he just back and TP?
That's right.
Okay,
yep. So, right now I'm starting to get pinged by this person. We're going to get into this the context soon here, okay? So I'm looking at
Urgot hasn't reset yet.
Oh, okay, he hasn't.
So Urgot has not reset. So Urgot's low and hasn't reset.
Yep. All right, so let me explain this, Curtis. I've now just been pinged by my Olaf 6-7 times, spam pinging. He wants me to dive top, dive top, dive top. And right now my mindset is like, okay, I actually don't see a dive top. Right now I think, okay, Urgot might just leave this. I just want to be more efficient here and just do my camps. Because what actually I've also seen as well, Wukong actually, he showed on the map he has 4 CS. He actually ganked bot level 2.
Yep.
Bot. So I know his Raptors and Krugs are up.
Okay.
So I'm actually thinking, I'm starting to prioritize that in my mind right now. In terms of, counter jungling him. So, and I'm looking mid here. So again, I've been spamming the whole time. Look at what I've just done. I've just muted my top laner.
Wow.
Instantly. No hesitation. Because again, right now, he obviously wants me to dive. I've assessed the situation. I view counter jungling and maybe counter ganking mid or looking to gank mid as higher priority in terms of winning this game.
And also not to mention, by the time you would have walked top, Urgot could have probably easily just reset and TP, Like, it's not guaranteed. You know what I mean? Like, if we go back here, right? When the ping started happening here, Urgot, like, if say you started walking top, chances are the Urgot's actually just going to base and reset and TP. Like, it's unlikely Urgot's going to stay on that low HP under tower. So, you see what I mean here, Nathan? Like, so right now the pings start happening and you pan your camera top and Urgot's really low, right? Yeah. But who's to say that if you go top, Urgot could easily just base and TP? Were you thinking about that or not?
No, I wasn't really thinking about that.
Oh, so you're actually thinking you could maybe have gotten that kill, but in your mind...
I'm prioritizing the counter jungle and protecting mid more.
And why is that out of interest?
Because I can get so far ahead here, essentially.
So you're valuing you getting ahead of the Wukong versus getting a random kill top.
That's right. Well, it's a high value kill for sure if there is a dive.
Yeah.
But again, you've got to make the decisions quickly. I don't have time to analyze this like this, right?
So I'm just really trying to get aligned with you, Nathan.
Yeah.
Right? So is the reason you didn't go for the play because you didn't see the opportunity until too late, and then you've committed to your idea?
Yeah.
It's not like you'd seen it. It's like you actually, so it's not like you saw this play and then was like, I'm not going to do it. You actually didn't see the play.
Yeah.
And then by the time the pings came through, it's too late because you'd already committed to your wolves, right?
Yeah.
That's the reason.
Yeah.
Right. So you're all-inning now, and this ties into the mantra, a poor play executed well is better than a good plan executed poorly, isn't it?
That's right. Because again, if I went straight top here, and because this is not it's not the way I saw the situation of the thing.
It's too late.
It's too late.
You've missed the boat.
I've missed the boat, right?
Yeah.
I'm getting spam pinged. He's probably right now, saying,
Yep.
Nathan Mott, terrible jungler, doesn't know what he's doing. And so I'm just really committed to this. And again, look at the situation. I've just pinged 8 times.
So a lot of people here, Nathan, what you're saying, your clients,
They'll start running top.
they will just run top.
Yep.
But it's too late now. They've missed that play. They shouldn't have done wolves if they were going to go for that, right? They should have just beeline top after blue.
That's right.
And then you've done nothing because you've missed the invade opportunity. You failed the top roam, and now you've got nowhere.
And what would happen is if I went top and nothing happened, like let's say he backed, think about what I'm thinking for the rest of the game.
Oh, no.
God, I wish I did that.
Yeah.
You know? And that's
You're
like
just off. You're just
it's like this
offbeat.
mental baggage you have.
Yeah.
And I just don't want that, you know?
Right.
So again, I'm really clear. It's like I want to counter jungle, I want to play for mid here,
Right.
you know?
Yep.
And Urgot just resets there and then TP's back to lane, right?
Yep.
So there's never going to be nothing to do here.
Gotcha.
So maybe a little bit lucky there, cool, whatever. Take his Raptors. I see Wukong bot. And then, and then we go kill mid here. I gank mid because I know that Vex warded bot side. I actually misexecute. That's I should be way more decisive on this. We actually, you die, but we get the kill. But that's the point.
Yeah, that was fine anyway.
And then we win this game in like 21 minutes, right?
Yep.
So again, just thinking about your game plan and the rest of this game. I actually did go back and play for top just because I muted him. Doesn't mean I didn't play around him. I just didn't want to.
You're just blocking the noise.
Blocking the noise out.
You know what you got to do. You don't need his pings if he's going to abuse the pings, essentially.
That's right.
Like, if he'd done, like, 2 assists and pings top, you're not going to mute. It's like, oh, okay, I know what he wants, but I'm just going to do my thing. But it's like it's when people spam ping you, it's just, all it's doing is just distracting you, isn't it? Because I remember I felt distracted in the game. I'm mid laner. I remember in the game, I think I panned my camera top, and I'm like, saw the wave under the tower. I'm like, what the hell does he want? And I'm like, but think about that actually got me, it actually distracted me.
Interesting.
As a mid laner.
Yeah.
It got me to pan my camera top. Like, what is he? Because it was like he literally maxed out the pings.
Yeah, he did.
Right? Great example, though. I love it. I mean, that's a really, really important message for junglers.
To add extra context as well, I know this player. This player
And you
was
have history.
He is our top laner.
Yeah.
He was our top. We lived with him for about a year.
Yeah.
He's a pro top laner. He's much better than me at the game at the time. But I'm still just playing because I'd rather win the game or lose the game my way and what I saw in the situation than someone else.
Because now you can get into the review and you can look at this situation and you can see what you got and what the missed opportunity was.
That's right.
Whereas if you were to make that play half-ass in a half-ass way, you don't even know what you would have got because no play actually materializes.
That's right.
A very important lesson. I love it.
So, again, this is not just I'm insta-muting someone that I know,
Yeah.
Like, how people say, like, you guys are going as strangers. This is someone I literally know, we've lived for, together for like a year and did doubles and stuff like that. So
it's like personal.
Yeah, it's, it's personal. But again, it's like, we're in a competitive environment. Like, if you spam ping me and new stuff, I'll just mute you as well. Like, I'm playing my game my way, we're in solo queue. We got to embrace the chaos. All right, so this is the intro to this topic that I want to bring up here, Curtis. Chaos in solo queue. We talk about embracing the chaos a lot. Obviously, this is a very chaotic situation. There's so much happening, right? So much information. Wukong ganked bot. He had 4 CS, showed bot, getting spam pinged. What I'm doing here is I'm creating order in this game in a way. I'm structuring the game. I'm thinking, okay.
You're imposing your own order over the chaos.
Over the chaos, that's right. Because if I just went straight top there, that's not order in my eyes. That's like, again, I didn't see that play. Now I'm like following, like, that's what the guy wants to do. We've been recently reading the 12 Rules to Life by Jordan Peterson in our book club. You made a video about this on your channel recently about, solo doesn't make you a worse person, and you use the parable of
Cain and Abel.
I think it's the second rule. Jordan Peterson talked a lot about order and chaos. And I was reading this part. He uses the very common parable of Adam and Eve, right? And he really deep dived into the idea of why was there a snake in that story? Why was there a serpent? And that's the snake that tricks, Eve into eating the apple, right? And he really deep dived into this, and he says, why is that the case? Why couldn't God have created a like this perfect utopia?
Like a utopia, yeah.
Right? And so just as I'm not religious, Curtis and I aren't really religious. So this is just really interesting. And the conclusion he came to, remember guys, this is a story that's thousands of years old, is that there is no such thing as pure order. Chaos always exists in any aspect of life, and you need to come up with tools, like for example, this game, to think about and structure it so then you're able to deal with the chaos. And you know how people in solo queue, they complain about the game and that sort of stuff. It's like they're trying to, you know, they're saying the teammates AFK, troll, toxic, all this stuff. This is all the chaos, but they're not adapting to it. They're not thinking, they're not trying to structure it. You know, it's like they
get annoyed with it. They get annoyed with the chaos rather than, and they don't accept it. They don't truly accept it.
And it's just, you've got to understand this is inevitable in all areas of life. There's no such thing as utopia. Even going back into that, the most original basic story of, you know, the Bible, Adam and Eve. And I thought that was so interesting.
Yeah.
You know, it's like there's no such thing as not having chaos in the world. And it's your job to structure it.
Yeah.
And create your own order in the chaos.
Yeah, and it's similar. It's very similar to the Cain and Abel story, right? Where that I talk about in my video, where Cain could have taken responsibility for not being not getting his sacrifices accepted by God. He could have figured out what's going wrong and why is God not accepting it, and like kind of problem solve and take responsibility, but he didn't, and he kind of fell into the trap of just blaming externals and then just blaming the chaos, and rather than taking responsibility and figuring out what did I do wrong. What was there was actually a YouTube comment. I don't know if this was I don't know if this is just a coincidence or not. But the comment was like, when I was listening to the story, I realized the names. This is the comment said. I realized the names Cain and Abel sound exactly like Can and Abel. So when you think about Cain and Abel, it's like
Can's like the what if.
Yeah, Can is like what if. It's like he's already able to do it, and that's what the story was.
It's Abel was, you do or you don't.
Well, Abel was already the one that. He was like the one that he was able to have his sacrifices accepted by God. He was the one that ticked all the boxes. He was able to meet the challenge. And Cain wasn't, but he could. He can do it, but he didn't. I don't know if that's like a coincidence.
It's an
I don't know. It's just weird though. Yeah. I just like, it was just a weird coincidence. Absolutely fascinating. And to follow on from this, a word that I think is very powerful that we don't use enough is the word conviction. Playing with conviction. And it reminds me of the guy we love on the podcast, Michael Gervais. He used to work, was he like a sports psychologist or?
It was the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, performance coach for the Seattle Seahawks in the NFL. And he talks about the importance of acting with conviction, making decisions and with conviction. And that's such a powerful word, conviction, acting with conviction. And when you think just what this example that you broke down, you made decisions with conviction. And why were you able to do that though? Why were you able to make decisions with conviction? Because you are aware and rock solid about your identity as Volibear in that game. You know what your identity is and you know what you want to get done. Michael Gervais talks about this in real life. In order to act with conviction, you have to know what you're about. You have to know what your identity is as a person. What's important to you? That's why Michael Gervais talks about if you can't talk about your personal life philosophy in a sentence, a few words or less, then it's hard for you to act with conviction because you don't know what you're about. And it's interesting that parallel exists, isn't it? In order to act with conviction in real life and have confidence in real life, you got to know what you're about. You can't fake it, because if you fake it, people are going to see through you. You're not going to act with conviction. You're going to half-ass things.
You're not going to learn,
and you're not going to learn,
That's
right? Because
you're
not committing.
Imagine if I went and I followed those Olaf pings and I really didn't see the play. That's not.
Well, it's impossible to act with conviction on someone else's call.
Yeah, that's
isn't
right.
it?
Yeah,
especially if you're not. I mean, okay, that's not the right way to frame it. You can act with conviction on someone else's call, but you have to commit to it. Like, you can't commit to it knowing that it's not the right play, if that makes sense. Like, then it's just compensation. So I just like there's that parallel, and how conviction and playing with confidence ties to like knowing your identity as a person in real life, but also in game. And how this is like becoming the champion, I've been using that from Kenny Werner this week in my coaching, being the champion, becoming the champion, really thinking like the champion. I've been obsessed about that in my reference points and knowing how you should think as your champion. It all ties in together. Confidence, champ mastery, playing with conviction. and owning your identity. All ties in together.
It's really important. And the key thing as well is that, you know, people might say, you know, well, Nathan, you know, I'm not challenged. I don't have much experience. You know, I didn't actually, when I was like struggling in Diamond and stuff like that, I was doing weird stuff all the time, following pings, all sort of stuff. I just didn't learn. And that's what I'm finding from my clients. Like, play with conviction, lose the game from your calls and the way that you saw the game. You just learn so much more there. And then if in the review, again, I can look at, it's like, okay, you know, was Chippy's pings here? You know, I definitely saw what, and I understood his situation in this thing. But again, I would rather I value different things in this game. Ganking mid and taking away for the Raptors.
Nathan, I want to talk about a story here that ties into this.
Okay.
I'm sure you got something else.
I was going to go another example of the chaos. Do you want to?
Can I talk about this, and then maybe we can, because I think it all fits in together anyway. You know, I've been saying this in my MLA this week. You know, I've been reflecting on, I've been doing the MLA now for like 2 years or something. And at the start of my coaching, kind of before the MLA, and I kind of do like Patreon coaching and stuff like that, I remember kind of like there's like in my mind a graveyard of people that were meaningful to me that I failed. Clients that actually I failed. I know there's some off the top of my head. My main one, Psycha. This was someone that was important to me. I did so many sessions with him, and he didn't get he gave up, and actually hurt me. I still think about this to this day. This is like over a year ago, I think. I still think how close he was to getting his goal as master tier, but he gave up at like D2. He couldn't do it, and I failed him. Right now, as I learn as a coach, you know, I sometimes think if I had that skill set I have now back then, a year and a half ago, I'm so confident that I would have been able to help that client. And, you know, the thing that was missing was that we were too reactive in our reviews. And what I mean by that is like, and I've got clients now that they sound like Psycha, but I know how to address it instantaneously. I'm going to give an example. So Tim, he's another Tim. There's a trillion Tims on my Discord.
Many Tims. I lose track.
I'm just going to say Tim, insert Tim, one of the admins. He came in for a review and he said, Curtis, I'm in a slump. I'm really lost in my games. When I review, all of my mistakes are random. Like I might like lose a 2v2 skirmish in the river, and then I might miss a roam opportunity, and then I might, you know, something might happen mid, maybe a failed gank or whatever the hell it might be. There's just like a series of random mistakes. My deaths don't make sense to me. I feel like I'm lost in my journey. And so I said, okay, let's get into it. Let's look at these mistakes. And he plays Silas, right? And we went through these series of mistakes or deaths or whatever you want to call it, the pivotal moments. And it reminded me so much of Psycha, because Psycha would say to me, Curtis, I'm just so lost. I've got no confidence. I don't know how to review these. What do I take away from this? And it's like, oh, you just gotta use your W differently here. You just gotta be there a little earlier. And you get into this rut of not making sense of these mistakes. What I realized, though, this is my big breakthrough, was that before you even address these mistakes on a case-by-case basis, you need to ask the question, what were you trying to get done this game as your champion? Like, how are you thinking as Silas in this game? What's your mind? And I asked him, I said, you're in Silas this game. What's your mindset? Are you trying to like get to Lost Chapter and then win and then get pressure and then roam? Are you trying to not interact with your mid laner at all and then just roam in between the waves? Are you trying to get to a particular item spike and then carry it 2 items? Are you trying to... Do you feel confident in minimizing and scaling? Like, what is your mindset in this game? What are you trying to do? Like, what is your role? Like, and I call this now even, this is similar to like a stage 3. This is like the why. I tie back to Simon Sinek, right? We have the why in the middle, and then we have the how, and then we have the what. What I do with Psycha is that I'm on the what all the time. That's just the micro, the execution, the small things. And then sometimes I'll dabble in the how, which is like the macro. But then the why is, why are we making these macro decisions? Why are we moving to this play instead of that play? Why are we making that play instead of that play? Well, how do we determine that? How do I know? How does you as a Silas player in this game know that I should be even attending this fight or pinging it back and going topside? How do you know? Well, this ties into your interpretation of your role as Silas in this game. So then when we got into it and I asked him this question, he's like, I actually don't know. I actually don't know what my role is in this game. I don't know what I'm trying to do. And at the end of the day, he was just reactive. And I've got many clients like this that I've worked with. And what I've realized is that these players, The thing holding them back is that they don't have a clear understanding of the champion's identity and why they need to do particular things. And this is actually why I struggled so much on Ari, because Ari does not have a clear identity. It's not intuitive how you need to think as an Ari when you first play Ari. It's very intuitive to know how to think as a Pyke mid. When you're playing Pyke mid, it's very, very, very obvious what you need to do.
Very low CS, roam, get some kills with your ult.
So simple.
Yeah.
So simple. Now, that doesn't mean the execution is simple, but it means the why is simple. Now, when you're working with clients that know their why...
It's like champs like also Malzahar and Nvidia. They're super... And Vlad. It's super...
Their why and the
minimize, scale up, team fight, win.
The clearer you are on your why, the easier time you'll have climbing. That's what I've realized.
That's right.
And that's why also the clients that get the most success are the ones that have the clearest why. And so... with my Ari, it wasn't until I really understood what my why is in every game that's when I'm killing it. I'm literally dominating. Like right now, I've won like 11, I think I've won like 11 or 12 games in a row, like dead set. I haven't lost a game this week in solo queue. With my Ari, every game I go in with Ari, I know exactly what I need to do. I know if I'm playing to not interact with mid and roam, if I'm playing to kill mid, if I'm playing to facilitate a jungler, a top. I know. I just know every decision makes sense. And my build makes sense. My runes make sense. My summoners make sense. Every detail is tying in perfectly with the why. Now, what does that allow you to do? Tying into what we just said before, it allows you to play with conviction. And it's a positive cycle. Then you know your why, allows you to play with conviction. Then you commit to plays with confidence. You execute better, gives you more confidence, and it's just a positive cycle upwards. I'm in this huge positive spiral upwards right now. All because my why is so solid.
Clarity.
So much clarity.
Is really important.
And then that also allows you to know when something goes wrong, you know how to review it so easily.
That's, again, structuring chaos.
Yes.
For my volley bear, whenever I have clients come in, they think of volley bear as like, this gank champion and stuff like that, right? And when they always have success when I switch it up. No, your champion, your why with Volibear is don't try and use your fights in your ult in skirmishes. Save it for dives.
That's huge.
And then their entire game is structured.
The whole universe shifts. Yeah, it's massive.
Once I started getting through that, it's like, no, the why of the champion is just dive with your ult with stacked waves, because you can obviously don't take tower shots. So much structure. And because last year I played Volibear. I played a lot of Volibear last year. I had like a 40% win rate with it.
Didn't get it.
The moment I switched to my Y this year, I now have a 65% win rate on my rank 15 account.
Just as a why. Just because you know what you're trying to do and why.
It's super clear to me.
Even if you, and this is the beautiful thing about it, even when you miss opportunity, like say like that this
I
clip,
miss
right?
an opportunity.
You miss it doesn't matter if you miss an opportunity, because like you know what you're doing otherwise.
Cassio is my win con. I'm diving mid with my ult.
Beautiful. I'll use another example of this. I really struggle sometimes with coaching Yone mid-game. Because Yone mid-game, it's really unclear. What do you do?
Do you go inside? Do you team fight? Do you flank?
What do you do? I didn't know. I'm trying to figure it out, right? And even like a lot of high-elo Yones like couldn't articulate it. Tim, another Tim, Mysterious, he's actually one of the other coaches in MLA.
Yeah.
Really good player. He's actually got a 70% win rate with Yone in EU Grandmaster like low chow, right? He's killing it, right?
Awesome.
And I asked him, I said, Tim, I don't get Yone mid-game. What's your interpretation of it? And because he actually figured it out. That's what gave him so much success. And he stepped me through. And he told me the mindset. Because I asked him, notice how I didn't ask the question, what do you do in mid-game? I asked, how are you thinking in mid-game? What's your mindset? What's your what's your mindset around ability usage? What are you trying to get done and why? And then he told me his mindset. He's like, okay, there's two options. You're either playing to team fight and you adapt your build, you go a tankier build and you're playing for team fights, and he explained how you use your abilities, or you're playing to split push and generate a massive pressure inside and more importantly, make picks. And he actually plays Yone more like a genuine assassin, like where you stack up your Q3 off like a minion or like a camp, and then you assassinate people. You actually use your E out of Fog of War and actually snipe people with your Q3. Yeah. He actually thinks like an assassin because you're really squishy, but you do a boatload of damage. So he's like, when I shifted my mindset from being like this brute force just run at them. Like because you think of Yone and Yasuo as like just, well, especially we're talking about Yone here, but Yone is like sustained damage and like you just get in there.
Yeah, use your E, you chunk him out a little bit, and then you like.
But it's actually you play like an assassin. It's a poke. It's a poke pick.
Yeah.
You play like a pick champ. You use Fog of War to catch people off guard with your E and your R and your Q3. And the great thing about Yone is non-committal because you E, you stack up your Q3 off a Gromp, and then you E over the wall, and then you can make a pick, boom, and then you're like out. And so I was thinking about that. I'm like, that shifted my entire mindset. I'm like, this makes so much sense. But again, I wouldn't have been able to figure that out unless I asked the why. Because I could even see that. I could maybe see a Yone player do that. But if I don't understand why he's doing that, it doesn't make sense. It won't change my behavior as well.
Because you'll be like, it's like, oh, that's cool. We got a pick there. But he's not thinking like Tim's thinking like that's that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
I have to figure out how to do that all the time.
That's it. That's all he's thinking. How do I make picks with Fog of War?
Everyone's like the cool montage play. Everything comes together. The build, the items,
it all,
playing around,
the style, the mindset. And so now with clients that have like problems, I start with the mindset. That's what I do. I start with the mindset. And if you don't start with the mindset, you're gonna struggle. So what are we looking at here, Nathan?
All right, so next one here, another example of chaos. Chaos.
Are you recording this in the background?
Yeah, this is all recording, yeah.
Okay. On Streamlabs?
Yeah.
Okay. So what is this, sorry?
So for context for this clip, this next one here, I just started on my Twitch stream doing like these fun community live coaching. So this is not what my coaching is, right?
So this is Nice 2.0 right here, right? Live coaching.
Yeah, well, obviously there's lots of content of live coaching. This is me backseat gaming,
Okay.
Definitely not really,
So this is not in Sol2. This is like what you do on stream.
These are Sol2 members. I just want to do this for fun, right?
Okay, so it's like a for fun.
This is a for fun thing, right? I just wanted to see, test it out, have some fun. So this is Samuli. He's a Nidalee one trick.
Okay.
He understands his journey is incredibly difficult. One of the most mechanical hard champs in the game.
Yep.
And I live coached him in this game. He initially joined Sol 2 Gold. He's demoted to Silver 1. And this game that he won, he got back to Gold 4.
Okay.
It was actually a big game for him. So what I want to show this clip is how chaotic, especially lower elo games, and how I created order in this clip to allow him to, embrace this chaos.
Okay.
All right? And I want to we'll go through some stuff here. So
I want to really get my Lich Bane.
Okay, yeah, how much do you
need?
How much do you need?
Like 100, so I'll take this cannon here. Thank you. Okay.
So let's straight up there. So what we're trying to structure right now the game, he wants to reset for Lich Bane.
Okay.
He needs 100 gold, he missed the cannon. Yeah. Now he's trying to get his minions, right?
Yep.
For more context, this game, he's pretty far behind. He's about 8 kills behind. Mordekaiser.
But he's 4-1. He's doing all right.
He's doing okay. His Mordekaiser is very good into their team composition, and he's absolutely the win con. He's like literally being like, the only reason they're still in this game.
Okay.
The rest of this map is just absolutely, everyone's just dying. All right, so the way that I'm structuring this is, I said, Samuli, wherever, if our Mordekaiser staying on the map, we need to stay on the map.
That's right.
All right?
I'll get it passively soon.
I don't think your team wants to base Samuli. I think we have to adapt. Go take his top camp.
Especially in Gold 4.
Yes.
Like you could, if this were a high elo game, you could like ping back and just reset, and the Mordekaiser would probably listen, but not in Silver 1.
No, so I realized that I saw that from this game. Like Mordekaiser's doing lots of. I've sort of tried to control him, but I'm like, okay, this is just not working. So this is the way. Again, I'm having order in the chaos. Let's see how this plays out. We can't reset. We can't. They're gonna fight 100%. So you see what I just said? I said we can't reset. We have to. We're gonna fight. Our fight's gonna break out 100%. Come kill. So now, all right, excellent. See, that's why we don't base Samuli, So the enemy Rengar shows up. You're gonna engage. Everyone's here. Enemy teams all here.
You guys we can't base ever. Like, please, can we reset?
Yeah, you guys should just reset. Yeah, I mean, you can maybe do. I don't help. Stay.
I can't reset.
Stay. Yep.
As long as this is going on.
Yeah.
I just please leave. Just leave. Okay. It's not going to be over until everyone is dead.
Yeah. All right. Kev. Yeah. Play around Mordekaiser. Good. This is good positioning. Great positioning. All right, so what we've just seen here is absolute chaos, right? Whole huge fight breakdown. Imagine if Smalley reset right there. What happens?
The entire team gets ace.
And then they take Baron.
Yep, lose the game.
So this doesn't go like, that well, but like at least like, they trade some kills and that sort of stuff. The enemy team can't do Baron
adapting to
offense.
chaos.
He's adapting to chaos.
Yeah.
And again, the way that we structured this is, wherever Mordekaiser, he's not resetting, we're going to be standing on the map with him as much as we want to get our lich banning, have the fundamentals. Because what I would see a lot of the time here is my clients be really upset. It's like, God, why does my quarter set suck? Why is he not resetting? It's so clear what I'm going to do, but you've got to embrace the cutting nature of solo queue.
Yeah. Yep. And in a way, it's kind of like entitled to even think like that. Like you're expecting that the Mordekaiser knows how important your lich bane spike is. Like this guy probably knows nothing about Italy. And
he's not thinking about his team's resets or anything like that, right?
He's in gold for,
That's what he's in there for a reason. That's the
right.
level of play is like.
Just is interesting, like how well is in Smalley.
Yeah.
He has to play mechanically here just to just to get stuff done. Like he's like doing like bloody
jumping over walls,
mental gymnastics, trying to bloody jumping over walls, flashing, hitting spears. Like it's just crazy to me. Like you have to just play crazy to win with Italy. It's insane to me.
It's a hard. We've been focusing a lot of execution rather than like mechanics.
You got to be so free flow with Italy.
Absolutely,
you just got to be present in the moment
because there's so many options. Because you can, if you get one chunk on someone from a good spear, everything changes. Your decision making can change.
Yeah. I just love it.
So I thought that was another good example. Going for this, the theme of today's podcast about order and chaos. Accepting, embracing the character nature of solo queue, which is one of our mantras.
Okay, I'm gonna, kind of add something on here. A little bit of a tangent, but I think it's similar. I'm at a little bit of a loss here, Nathan. I need your help. I don't know how to break this down by myself.
Okay.
So we, as coaches and ourselves, we like to set learning objectives. A learning objective meaning something that we want to direct our attention.
Some aspect to focus on.
Yeah, something that, and again, it creates order within the chaos of your journey, doesn't it? You want to select one thing or two things to hone in on in your skill and in your level of play, so you can get better at that. And even if you lose the game, it doesn't matter because you got better at this one thing. Okay, or you've refined it a little bit. Now, myself included, around 3 or 4 people have had the exact same experience recently, which is we are actively, we don't know how to really play with a learning objective. So 610 messaged me the other day and he said, Curtis, I started randomly playing much better when I stopped talking to myself in game. So I felt like what he was doing was he was like, okay, I want to focus on this thing. And then he was like talking to himself, reminding himself that he needs to focus on this thing. And then that was taking away from his ability to be free flow. And then that was lowering his level of play. Now I get it. We talk about playing to practice and playing to perform in a way. But where do you draw the line between, like, how do you view focusing? Like, what does it mean to you to focus on a learning objective? Like, I want to talk very specifically. Like, do you think about it when you're loading into the game? Do you think about it in the lull states? Do you not think about it at all? You only look at it in the review. Like, what does a learning objective mean to you in the Soul 2? And how do you personally, if you were to focus on something, how do you focus on it? Like, let's not use buzzwords here. I'm talking like really, really specifically.
All right. Jungle tracking.
Okay, great.
So let's say jungle tracking.
Yep.
So what I've found is that what we need to be doing, the learn objective will be let's jungle track for the first 5 minutes of the game.
Okay.
The great thing about that learn objective is that that's always there. You always have to do that. So what I find with sometimes there's other learning objectives, right? Like we can go into some more examples.
Yep.
I guess that jungle's more structured than mid lane. There's a bit more chaos, maybe. I mean, I guess there's chaos in jungle as well. But I really like learning objectives that are going to be consistent. It's going to pop up in that game somehow.
Yep.
Right. So let's say sometimes I do reviews, and I know that they're really pointless. Where it's like let's say I did a review where he was doing it. You know how dragons take a bit longer now?
They're tankier.
Tankier. So they killed the enemy bot lane, but this guy was playing Fiddlesticks and things. AD carry died and he had like a Nami, right?
Okay.
The mid laner was around and could have helped the dragon, but the mid laner just assumed that they could get it themselves. It's a Fiddlesticks Nami. It takes forever to do the dragon. It was really early in the game. And then, you know, the mid laner went back mid. They overstayed there on the dragon, and then they died, and then they lost dragon. And it's like, okay, what's the learning objective of this game? As Fiddlesticks, ping your mid laner to come to the dragon.
What was the mid lane champ out of interest?
I think it was like an AD champ or something like that.
Okay.
Something. I think it was a Yone actually.
Okay.
Right? I mean, he wanted to go back for the next mid. He thought they were all good.
Yep.
And it's like, that's not going to pop up probably again for the next 10 games. And like I said, that is like, that was the end of review. And it's like, fuck, like, you know, like that's not really a learn objective in my eyes, you know? So that's an example of something that's not going to pop up every game.
So what you're saying, okay, let's go back to the jungle tracking learning objective, right? So when you tell your client...
Specifically for the first 5 minutes.
So specifically, so you're telling them to think about this in the loading screen. So you're reminding them that you should remind the client should remind themselves in the loading screen, I need to track the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So when they're starting their buff, they're obviously like paying attention to also who leashes their side.
They start, yeah.
And like, so you're getting them to think about it in the game. And so when this happens, you know, I'm assuming you get clients to say, look, I'm doing my clear's screwed now. Like I can't clear, can't. Is that normal? Like that, I can't kite my cams properly.
Yeah, we've talked about that before on the podcast, how if you focus on something, some other areas, aspects suffer sometimes.
Right, okay.
Because it's overwhelming the mental stack now, right?
So do you have other learning objectives as a jungler that exist outside the first 5 minutes? Like what are some other learning objectives that you set?
Count to 10 in the mid game.
Okay, that's a great one. Walk me through that one.
So that's
how does it actually work?
Knowing where, it's literally, I just say, ask the question in the mid game, where is my team, where's the enemy team?
So when though? When do you ask a question?
Anytime you want. It's probably not, maybe it's going to be more, like, what am I meant to say? The 15-minute, 30
So this is my problem.
Yeah, it's rough.
This is my problem.
There's lots of chaos, yeah.
So my problem is that I found this as well. So I'm gonna explain to you something that happened in my journey.
Yeah.
I was over the past, okay, so I'm going to talk about the past 3 weeks. I went on one of the biggest loss streaks I've had in a long time over the past, not this recent week, we'll get to that in a second, the 2 weeks before that, where I lost around, I went from 7 something LP, 750 to 480.
It's a massive drop.
So around
Especially
300
playing 3 blocks. That's like 0,
That's
3,
playing
3 blocks.
3 and 4 blocks.
That's like 0, 3, 0, 3, 0, 3,
I
0, 3.
had multiple 0-3 blocks.
Yeah.
It culminated at the last day with 2 0-3 blocks of 6 games of support. So I'm demoralized, right?
You're broken.
Broken. But the funny thing is, that was the period of time where I had the most process. I reviewed every game. I had active learning objectives. I knew exactly what I was focusing on. I ticked every box from a process perspective. Okay. On the Monday, after that 0-6 day on the Sunday, 470 LP or whatever it is, 480 LP, I said, fuck it. I'm not focused on learning objectives. I'm not doing this anymore. What happened? This was this week. I haven't lost a single game. I've played out of my mind. I remember I counted my deaths on my games over the past RE games specifically. I think I've played 7 RE games. I've died like 4 times in like 7 games. It's literally smurfing in Grandmaster games.
It looks like your bow, like
just out of nowhere. 11, 12 games in a row.
And you think it's because you're not focused on one objective.
This cannot be a coincidence that this just happened to be, because I said to her, I'm going free flow. I'm doing the Kenny Werner. I got inspired by Kenny Werner.
Last episode.
We did last episode, which was just be free flow. Just entrust just let your mind kind of wander. I didn't think. I'm not thinking. I'm not coming in. Like, I'll obviously think about, like, you know, roughly, but like, and I'm almost using my LoL set to like plan what I want to do next. But I'm not actively setting I'm just expressing what I know, right? And I don't know. I feel like I'm sure there's something going on here, but 3 or 4 people had the exact same experience to me, where it's like a stark difference.
What ranks?
All GM, all Master GM. And I've got to the point where it's like, I know learning objectives are very important. I don't know how to improve otherwise. And maybe it's just as simple as like, I dropped because I overwhelmed my mental stack. And then, now I'm freed up my mental stack. And now I'm getting back to the rank. I'm going to plateau again. I don't know. But like, I'm actually performing better against people like I'm like beating good players as well a lot of the time. And I just feel like a different player when I'm just not thinking. I'm just free flow, the Kenny Werner style.
But it's interesting though, Curtis, because hey, I'm bringing it back to the order and the chaos, right? You did structure it, you did order it because we just brought it back to the why of your champion. You knew the Ari why more, didn't you?
But I knew this the week before.
Yeah, but
like again, I knew the why before.
Yeah, you knew the why, but you were maybe having all these things that were overtaken.
It's
overthinking.
But then if I'm feeling like that, what about a client that I have?
That's right. They would be a gold
like, aren't they going to have
yeah.
the same thing? Aren't they going to have the same experience with their mentors? Because how do you improve? And this is the conundrum, right? You want to set learning objectives to isolate skills and get better at skills. And that's important. And it's important to overwhelm your mental stack. But then to what degree, if that's limiting your free flow state, then how do you know if a mistake is... Like, how do you know what mistake is a genuine mistake and what is because your mental stack is overwhelmed?
I don't know.
And then so what happens, I feel like it's so easy to just completely crumble and get confused about what you're currently capable of and what you're not capable of. I think that this is something that I just don't, from a teaching perspective and a learning perspective, I don't know yet. I'm still trying to figure it out. I've had success with learning objectives. And I still feel like they're absolutely crucial.
Absolutely. That's the order for the chaos.
But I don't know. I don't know how to answer this question. I don't know. And it's like I think the answer is this. And this is I'm gonna pose this.
Okay.
Swagnar in the BBC channel this morning. He said that in his work, in his company, this is what they do. He works in like a financial company. He says they go through phases. He says they have a focus on metrics and then they have a focus on results. On process, sorry. A focus on metrics and then a focus on process. So the way it works is this. Let's say they're killing it. Like they're just doing really well. Everyone's doing really well. So what they do is they shift all their focus on metrics. Like, let's just hit these numbers. Like, everyone's killing it. We're performing well. Like, let's push. Like, let's really push the numbers. Metrics. Results. This is the equivalent of a league. If you're feeling really high confidence, you're feeling you're playing really well, focus on the results in a way. Like laser focus on just like playing, not thinking, not really reflecting that much. Then when the results are not coming anymore, and in their company, when like they're not hitting their targets and they're not performing well, what do? They switch their focus back onto the process and they say, okay, let's figure out what's going wrong. And then they go into that until they start performing well again. And then they laser focus on the results. That's what they do in his company. And it got me thinking, maybe this is, I created this theory ages ago called the learning and execution phases, where in League, we go through phases where we learn something, we execute, then you execute on that, what you've learnt for like 2 weeks. And then you learn something. Like maybe, thinking out loud here, maybe the best way to improve at League is that you only have one learning objective. One. Not 2, not 3, 1. You laser focus on this one thing to the point where it's like there's like, it's obviously you're gonna perform worse because of it. No, like you know that. But then at some point you're gonna be like, say you dropped 200 LP. At some point, like you're 100% gonna know this one thing, and then you execute from this point onwards, back up. You push it as far as you possibly can, maybe at 300-400 LP, and then same thing, drop 200 because you're overwhelming your mental stack, push up another 300.
I mean, it sounds really good in theory.
And that's what I'm saying. It's all theoretical.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just spitballing here.
I the initial reaction, Curtis, is time, the respect for time. Like, I think it's good that you had that massive loss streak, and then now you're just remember. It's just the key thing that this is what I do. If something doesn't work, just change it up. So it's like you're doing the learn objectives, and for you specifically, you tried, okay, let's just not think about anything and just play free flow.
But Yeah, I get that, but where's the problem specifically? That's my point. Where is the problem? Is the problem having a learning objective? Am I having too many learning objectives? Is it the way am I not thinking about learning objectives properly? Is it the type of learning objectives? That's my problem. I don't know what the problem is.
Yeah, I don't know, dude.
You know, it's like I get it. I can remove it and change it.
Yeah.
But changing something only makes sense when there's only one thing you're removing. If I'm removing multiple things, I don't know what it is. So I need to think about this, and I don't know. I'm just raising it as an idea, and I want you to think about this. We need to figure this out because I feel like it's not good enough for us to like let clients have these problems and then like be oblivious to them in a way, you know?
Okay. I just have a deep respect for time coders, just chipping away and failing and just sucking and like trying things out.
But maybe it's even more than we expected. Maybe it's legit like.
I think it's going to be very difficult to find an answer, Curtis, with League of Legends. Honestly.
Or do you think it's just personal?
I think it could be personal. I think it's your experience and I think it's a grandmaster. I think it's a high elo specific thing as well.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I
you don't think it's a coincidence that everyone that you talked about having this learning objective problem are all grandmaster players?
I think what it is, I really do. I'm going to say it one last time. I think learning objectives, you need to be willing potentially, depending on how hard that learning objective is, to lose 200 LP. Roughly. Okay. Plus, minus, let's say...
I can get on board with that. I love 200. Losing is important. Part of the game.
Like legit 200. So if you're P1, go to P3.
Yeah.
Maybe even more. Maybe 300.
Yep.
Maybe P4.
Yep.
I don't know. But then from that point, now that's in your mental state, then you just execute. You don't think. Like you actually go from laser thinking on one thing to not thinking and purely execute with that new muscle memory. Boom.
I like that. I think that's a good strategy.
That's what I'm going to start. I'm going to try this because I'm going to push this to what I'm currently capable of. I'm going to push it, right? See where I can go with this. With my current level of play, I'm actually not going to set a learning objective right now. That's where I'm in that phase. I'm going to push what I currently know to whatever LP it is, and then once I get to that LP number, then I'm going to pick one thing, and I'm going to see what happens. I'm going to just experiment. All right. So is there anything else you wanted to talk about here, Nathan? Or did you want to move on to mailbag?
Yep. Let's jump into mailbag. Away we go. Welcome back for Nathan's mailbag. Jingle, jingle, jingle song. All right. First question here is from Andre. The title of this email is Posture at the PC.
It's a posture check, Nathan.
Posture check. Hello, Nathan and Curtis. This is Andre, and I feel like my posture is affecting my gameplay. A few weeks ago, I was watching the LEC, and I noticed that most players keep their arms at a 90-degree angle in relation to the table and their mouse and keyboard, so I started to try out different stuff to see what feels the most comfortable. Recently, I've started resting my hands on the chair's armrests, and now they are at a 90-degree angle with the mouse and keyboard. I feel like this position makes me play much better, tested both in League games and in LoL Dodge game. I've always been confused about monitor placement. I've held it with the top of the screen at eye level or sometimes lower or higher. I sometimes get the feeling that I'm unable to play with maximum intensity with my setup is not arranged adequately. I'm still trying to find the best position in my chair and the best position of my peripherals. I think that NASCAR drivers, for instance, have a standard way in which they keep their bodies while driving. Do you feel like there is one setup that is straight up the best for everyone, or does it depend on each person's build?
We did an episode with Jordan Sai, and I think we asked this exact question. Yeah. So I recommend searching Jordan Sai video we did with him. The one big takeaway I got from Jordan was actually you're not going to have perfect posture for the entire time, right? So let's say when you're playing, right, like you're going to naturally get into because you want to. It's like high intensity. You're going to like kind of do this more. You're going to lean in more and you're going to like want to be closer to the screen or whatever it is. That's very normal, he said. But when you're not playing...
Yeah, you focus on that.
You focus on posture when you're not playing.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, a lot of the time when you're at your computer, you're not playing for a lot of the time.
No.
So then when you're not playing, you should really focus on your posture. Because you don't need to be leaning in anymore. So now you can really make sure you're keeping your back straight and like your core. He even says like if you can, like core engage and stuff like that. That's like next level stuff. But That's one of the big takeaways. And I do try to do that. But when I play, my posture is not good either. Like I know that I'm more
bad.
leaned in.
Yeah, my posture would be bad. But I mean, for me, if I have like really bad posture, intensity is low. Having good posture going into the game, just like actually thinking about in champ select,
definitely.
it helps me get into a high intensity.
Isn't there
up.
hasn't this already been proven where it actually is, it's like a Tony Robbins thing. Tony Robbins was big on this. Like if you expand your body, like in a way, and like you take up more space, and like you keep your body upright.
I feel
he said something how it actually has a physiological response.
Interesting.
Like a hormonal change. Yeah, no, it's a hormonal change. It's actually studies being done on this. I can't remember off the top of my head. It was something, I think they did there's what do they call it, like a double blind experiment or whatever it is, where they got people to assume a smaller area, like more hunched in, like crossing arms and crossing legs, etc. And then they got people to take like a power stance. I think it was like a power stance where your legs are widened and your chest is like out and your shoulders are back, and you're like Jordan Peterson talks about, like taking on the world in a way, facing the world. And they found hormonal changes, more testosterone or something like that, just by stance differences, posture differences. You can probably find that somewhere on the internet. I read this ages ago.
I personally feel really good when I really
you
think
just feel
about
good,
my
right?
position.
Yeah.
I feel good. Because again, you know, when you start tilting and stuff, you know.
Oh yeah, the Tyler One special, right? And before you know, you're in Narnia down here.
I'm not.
Even if I do this, I don't feel good.
No, you don't.
You don't feel good, do you?
No.
It's just low intensity.
Low intensity.
This is like Saturday night with a beer in hand posture.
Yeah.
You know, that's that posture. It's slumping into the couch.
A long day, long week's work.
That's right.
Time to relax.
But when we're playing League and we're on the Rifts, you're stepping into your office, Nathan.
That's right. I love my office. My Rift is my office, the posture, my chair. Oh, I just want to play Udyr right now, Curtis, with good posture.
That's right.
That's all I'm thinking about right now. All right, next one here. This is a letter. We like to share stories that people can relate to. This was from after one of our episodes talking about they can't talk to their friends about the game, and they talking about how people deal with it. So I think this was triggered from that. The title of this letter is "I broke a toxic friendship and changed my life because of you." A love letter to the BBC. So the title of this email, this is from Vana. So we'll just read into this. So it's a bit of a long one, so strap in, Curtis. Hi, Curtis and Nathan. I apologize for the length of this, but you didn't change just my League journey. You changed my life, and I want to express how exactly. Getting into the details. I'm a long-time viewer and BBC enjoyer. Discovered it about a year ago and binged it since then. Although I do not play mid or jungle, I enjoy the content and I think it teaches stuff that are replicable in every role, especially following the process and respecting the game. Now I had this friend who I loved dearly, but when it came to League, I was simply just never good enough, and he always made sure I knew that. He played since Season 3, and I started in Season 9, so naturally he just has more experience and knew more than me. He peaked at Platinum 2, and to a noob like me, it was a big, shiny, unreachable rank. League is my first video game. We love and play the same role support, and he was there to teach me everything I had questions about. But at the same time, he tried talking me out of playing the game because by his words, there is just no hope for me. He said it half jokingly, but I sensed truth in his laughter. That sparked an I will prove you wrong fire in me, which I now realized was a strong but not healthy mindset. A year went by and I've improved a bit. In Season 10, I went to try and play ranked since I heard it's the best way to improve, and I've reached Gold 2 in a few months. It was a big achievement for me at the time, but my friend was disapproving. He checked me every game on OPGG, questioning my champ pool, choices, builds, and tell me that I just got lucky. Supports just climb easier and I'm not playing well at all and should stop playing ranked. And I did believe it. I don't think there is anything wrong with calling out your friends when they're being delusional, but I just wish he gave me, nice job, keep improving. Anyways, I listened to the advice and stopped playing ranked for that season. The next season, I discovered Coach Curtis and his amazing advices. I never really had a big champion pool, so I stick to my 3 champ one. I started playing in blocks of 3 and reviewing my games. I started watching his videos and started improvising. Okay, but how does this translate to support? And it got even better when I found the Broken by Concept podcast and Nathan too, and started again to jungle as a secondary role. And I reached Platinum 2.
Wow.
That's a pretty quick journey.
Very.
For season 9, didn't even
Yeah.
play ranked season 10. We're talking about, 2
amazing.
years. This is the Patrick level journey, isn't
Yeah.
it? However, my friend wasn't supportive at all. Ever since I started that ranked season, my friend would call me delusional boosted e-girl. So I think this is definitely a female where I'm getting at. Who just got lucky. He will do the same again. Pick apart my win rate, my champion pool, point out my stats, KDA, my items, and all the wrongs he could find. And I'm not going to lie, he was not wrong. I did have a lot to improve on, and I still do. But I just felt too much pressure. I tried talking with him about how it makes me feel and how I don't want some huge congratulations or praise. I just want a simple, good job. Keep focusing on the right things. But he just told me he is calling me out on my bullshit. His comments started messing with my head. I started believing that every game that I won, I was just useless dead weight to be carried. I started hating myself over every single mistake that I made. I lost all my confidence, not that I had much to begin with, and every game that I lost, I saw as a new tool for him to criticize me. So in my mind, I unconsciously started playing to look good rather than be good. And it just killed my will to play the game, so I quit ranked for that season with just around 50 games. This season, I literally didn't even play the game until a month ago. I had huge ranked anxiety to even queue for ARAM or normal. Sorry, just ARAM and normals. I could just hear the voice in my head telling me I just suck and there is no reason to try when there is so much to improve upon that it's just overwhelming. Then I randomly saw an BBC episode saved in Watch Later and gave it a listen. I realized how much I missed the game and I decided to give it another go. As soon as I started playing normals, not even ranked, my friend asked me if I finally accepted the fact that I'm just delusional and I'm not as good as I think I am. It was weird because I never talked about my relationship with the game with him, and it was quite the opposite. I really struggled to find anything good in my gameplay. I had no confidence. I thought I was the worst player in the world. After a month of only normals, I decided to play ranked just like I did previous season, follow the process and focus only on myself. My own improvement and stop looking at my win rate or KDA and focus on the actual game. And the OBGG checking, criticizing, and all that started again. I felt miserable, and then the episode about I stopped talking with friends about League came a few weeks ago. And that's when I realized that maybe this whole thing is not even about the game and that it was just affecting my mental health and my League progress negatively. Put in all the narratives in my head, so I tried having a conversation again with him, but I met with the same answer as before. Bullying under the mask of no, I just want to help you. Understand that you suck and didn't improve one bit. I cut him off. It was hard because we were friends for years, even before I got in the game, but it was worth it. Suddenly, I saw my passion for the game return. I started playing the game how I always wanted to play it, for improvement first. I also found Coach Cupcake.
Yes.
And was excited to take one step at the time. Right now, I'm sitting in Diamond 3 with about 90 games played, and I'm more excited for the game than ever, knowing that even when I suck, it's just part of the learning, and it gives me hope to know it's in my own hands to change it. A lot of my old passion started coming back ever since I cut a person who made me feel stupid and inferior for being passionate. I feel confident knowing that while mistakes will always happen and there will always be things to improve upon. I'm okay with my current state, and it's a reminder to keep going no matter if it's a league or a new hobby I just picked up or maybe studying for school, and none of it would have happened if it wasn't for the Broken by Concept podcast. I know this is maybe nothing big for you, and you've heard a similar story 1,000 times, but you guys genuinely changed my life and helped me stand up for myself and improve not just in the game, but in real life too. Love the work you guys are doing and wish you the best.
I get so angry when I hear this stuff.
I do, don't I? Yeah.
Like, what a piece of shit. Like, that guy, your friend, or, toxic person masquerade as a friend.
Yeah.
That guy is so insecure.
That's right.
I get so angry about this because I've got, and I don't know if this is purely because it's a female, but there are women in the MLA who have been bullied by insecure men too many times, and it pisses me off so much. There's multiple people, Kat is one of them. She's an amazing Zed player, like just so passionate about the game. And her experience with just people like stalking her OPGG, like criticizing her.
Everything.
And it's like they're under a microscope. Like, leave these poor women alone.
It's crazy, dude. What are you doing?
Because they're so insecure. They can't fathom that a woman is better than them because they're just misogynist. They're genuinely misogynist. Like, they cannot fathom that someone is better than them at something. It's just reeks of insecurity. And it makes me angry because he's done damage to this. You know, imagine if she didn't find the BBC. Who knows? Like, she could have carried this zero confidence onto whatever it was that she applied herself to. She might not have ever found a passion in a video game ever, or any competitive thing ever from this, just because of this dude. Like, it just is unbelievable. So, you know, what's her name again?
Vana.
Vana, you should be so proud of yourself for that, because that's a tough decision. Not easy, especially when you've built a relationship, a friendship with someone. It's easier said than done. So props to you for stepping up for yourself and making the tough call, because it sounds like you put up for that way too long. And yeah, I mean, I think, you know, the silver lining here is that you got to be careful with who you surround yourself with, and we all do. And you know, hate, you know, when I think these people that criticize you, it can come from a place of like care, can't it? It's like you're genuinely giving.
That's what it looked like. That's what it seemed like to her for a long time.
Advice, right? It's like, oh, you know, but you know, I think you could pick up on this pretty quickly as well. But it's like the way they give advice. It's like calling someone boosted or like, what was the words he was using? Things like delusional and things like that. Just not, it's like the opposite of encouragement, you know? It's just so sad to see. It's scary. It's scary as well. So thank you for sharing this with us, and I'm glad that you come out the other side, and I'm looking forward to hearing you ride in again in maybe a year's time and share with us where you are in a year from now.
More results.
And I'm glad that you found Coach Cupcake. Amazing content. He's a great coach. So you're in good hands there, which is amazing. And yeah, anything you want to add?
The key thing I want to think, you know, when people like criticize people saying like, you're good at the game, right? There's so many ways to climb in League of Legends, right?
Yes.
You know, and it's like they have this expectation that everyone's a fucking pro player. It's like you have to have like this insane.
Well, you have to win a particular way.
You have to win a particular way, otherwise you're not good at the game.
It's ridiculous.
Like if you're playing in Diamond 2 games, you know, even if you say you don't understand the game from a jungler perspective or something like that, you're still in that game pace, that feeling, that level of skill. There's still an element of mechanics there as well. Like, you know, I look at, you know, some of my, you know, my Gold Salter members and stuff. We talk about execution, like, you know, and execution is really important.
It's understanding your league journey.
It's so important. You know, and you have different skill sets in the support role. And let's say, you know, I can already assume that he's probably, you know, saying that she just plays in chance or something like that. You know, like, you know, we have, you know, Kitty in Challenger in OS, and she generally she's an analyst for the LCO.
Broadcast, yeah,
fantastic job. Really brought so much life to that podcast.
She's really smart about the game.
Pure support player.
Yep, enchanters, and she's great at the game, and she's smart about the game, and she's got good micro.
Yes, maybe she just doesn't have a full, you know, picture of it. She doesn't do a pro player sort of stuff, but why would
Who does anyway?
Yeah, who does?
Who does?
Unless you're literally like
a pro.
Full time, you get paid 6 figures, you're one of the best players in the world.
Yeah, who does?
It's like, guys, who are we here? What are we doing? And then I could also break down that guy's gameplay, his mindset of the game, and I'll fucking demonstrate how you don't know much about the game, buddy.
Everyone is the biggest, you know, anyone can be a biggest critic. It's like, it reminds me of the Freak episode as well. Like, you can know as much as you want, but if you can't execute on it, then it's just means jack shit.
Yeah.
You know, it means jack shit. Yeah. It's aggravating. It really is. How critical people are of other people's play without looking at themselves. Right? It reminds me of, you know, you were talking about, we're using the actor analogy before. We don't even want everyone to be a Leonardo DiCaprio. Steve Buscemi. He owns his identity, right? Steve Buscemi, when you think about it, he like plays a similar character in everything he does.
Yeah, there's those characters that
And he just owns his identity as an actor.
Better,
he makes things better. He's not the best actor. He's not a Leonardo DiCaprio. He's not a Brad Pitt. He's not a Jack Nicholson or whatever it is, or but he owns his identity and he's great in the roles that he does. And I think that applies everywhere. Like, you don't have to be the best at everything. You just got to be really good at one thing. I can't coach anything else but mid.
Yep, same for me for jungle. No, nothing about
if someone brought me a gold, silver top, I wouldn't even know where to start with top, jungle, AD carry, anything.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even know where to start. I can't give you advice. I can't help you.
No.
I own that. Does that mean I'm a bad coach? Because I don't know how to coach top, AD carry, support, jungle? That's on you. You can call me a bad coach if you want, but I know how to coach mid lane. And maybe in her situation, she knows how to play those few champions. So what? She's not trying to go pro. I'm not trying to coach a team of professionals and learn macro game for SKT. I need to stay in my lane and know my one thing.
Stay in your lane. And when you know your lane, that's where conviction comes.
Yes, conviction. Do a full circle here. Because you know your identity, you know what you're about, know how you want to do it and why you want to do it. Yeah, it just really makes me angry though, hearing that. So anyway, she came out of it though, which is good.
Good life lesson to cut out those people.
Yes.
She'll know the things to look for next time as well, which is good.
I think we've all been there in our life where you've had to make a tough decision with a friendship. And this is not what the podcast is all about, by the way. We're not here to tell people to not be friends with other people.
Remove all your friends.
It sounds as a terrible message. And that was never our intention.
No.
It was more about knowing, sometimes separating. Maybe she could be friends with this guy in real life. Maybe in real life, maybe they just completely separated anything.
That's
to do
what
with
Daniel
competition.
said. He has his friends, but he just doesn't talk about league with them.
That's right. He doesn't even begin to talk with them. And that's fine.
Because he understands they don't take the game as seriously as him. They don't have the same view of the game.
And we've got friends in real life that we don't talk about work or anything we do with them because they wouldn't get it.
No.
It's just weird to them and they don't resonate.
And it's fine.
That's fine.
They have a different
we talk
path,
about other things with them.
Views.
That's right.
All right, last one here is from Sentriel. Tyler's emails, being a better student. Hello, and Nathan, of course, this is Sentriel here from the MLA. Recently, I heard you guys talk about how you love when clients get passionate in the same way you guys get about the game because it makes for an exciting and effective learning session. My question is, what other things can I do to be a better client student? I think I'm generally a good student, very passionate about the game, but what qualities have you seen in others that have led to effective learning? Would you love your thoughts on this? Thanks for being great role models and talking about the game in ways that no one else does.
So I reckon the way we approach it, Nathan, think of a client that you love working with.
Yep.
Ishan, I'm assuming. Yep. What are some qualities that Ishan has?
Respect for time. Time. Patience. I actually had a student who's actually, he's up there. He's pretty passionate, I'd say thing, but he told Nathan, I'm doing the 3-ball process. I'm doing everything, learn objectives. I'm just, not really getting results. And I always say, how long have you been doing it for? 2 months. And he's having a mental break. No respect for time. That's why I try to bring it back to, you and your thing. It's just like the whole time thing.
Right. Could be just time.
Gotta let time. Curtis, think of my journey.
You're a very patient man.
I could have easily broke down and quit the game, quit coaching, been stuck in been platinum. I just have this respect for time.
You've always had that. That's one of your biggest traits.
Guys, I finished last season Diamond 1 and I'm currently ranked 15 challenge on the Oceanic ladder. Things just click, just time. Things were going to click eventually. Keep attacking.
Even if you don't know how it's going to happen, it will.
I do.
You believe. It's like borderline delusional.
Delusional, yeah. I guess you could say that.
Yeah.
Anyone could have called me delusional.
It's like belief or delusion. It's like a fine line, right?
Just relax, guys.
So what else? So that's
respect for time.
Respect for time.
You're going out and researching yourself and coming me with the questions.
Yes.
I think we talked about in that episode. Curiosity and I don't want to say challenging my thought process, but really dig in. Ishan would dig at my thought process a lot.
Like why?
It's like, let's say if like he's not happy with the answer I gave him, he'll keep digging. But some of my clients like give it, they don't really understand it, but I can't really tell sometimes.
Right.
Sometimes I can tell, but he's just digging into it. It's like he was trying to siphon my brain, you know, selfishly in a way. You got to be sort of selfish, you know, taking other people's knowledge, you know. Sometimes it can be annoying for us, I think, but he did it in a way that I respected. He still kept his distance, you know, here and there. Those are the key things I can think of. Yeah.
Yes, very similar. I think knowing that things take time, respect for stage 3 issues, like not like before, like understand how like the out of game impacts the in game. Like I get sometimes clients, they say they're on a loss streak, but then I ask, well, you know, how's your real life going? And like I just feel like I have to do all this digging when they should know this, and it's just frustrating. So like I guess respect for the out of game and like the situation in their life. Like if you're not getting games in and you're stressed because you've got exams,
not sleeping,
it's not some grand conspiracy why you're not climbing. You're not exercising. You're not playing in 3 blocks. Like let's just save the time and not review this. And just look at your real life situation.
They shouldn't even be coming to review.
You shouldn't even be coming, dude. They come by in 2 weeks later. Come by 3 weeks later. Get your shit sorted. Yeah, you know. So I guess understanding of like how the outer game impacts in game. Like you said, they do their own due diligence to to learn what they can by themselves, and then to get different perspectives. They want to get different perspectives. Like even if I give them an answer, they'll still poke and prod and like maybe look at another VOD and be like, why do you think this person did that? Like they will just kind of get different perspectives.
Ishan also got coaching from he got coaching from Malice. He was an Eve one trick. He's one of the best Eve players in the world. Great.
Just get different perspectives. Yeah. Also, I would say, just understands all the mentions like small champ pool,
owning identity. You have Cal Casey for time.
I was
talking to him yesterday. You know, he joined your program, Diamond 2. 18 months he's been in your program.
Yeah.
Challenger yesterday.
And it wasn't smooth sailing, that's for sure.
Absolutely not.
D2 to Challenger.
Own his identity.
Patience. I would also say just like enthusiasm and energy in the sessions. You know, coming in with enthusiasm and energy, knowing what they want to get out of that session, right? Knowing their intent. What are they wanting specifically? What do you want another perspective on?
Because I can have the VOD and look at it, but, I'm just going to say, you got to...
Yeah, be proactive and, like, have an idea and like, review this game and have your own idea of it, and then come to me with things you're confused about.
That's right.
Rather than, okay, I haven't reviewed this. I have no idea what we're going to look at, but let's just look at it anyway.
Yeah,
it's like we can still get value, but we're going to get more value if you'd already reviewed it yourself.
That's right.
And then and I would say last thing, just a deep respect for the difficulty of the game. Like if they're not getting results, they don't have like a huge panic attack, because they know that there's probably something there that they're not doing wrong. So just because out of respect for like the complexity of the game, it's like, all right, we just got to figure it out.
Yep.
Right. Well, we'll figure it out. We just got to take your time and not, self-sabotage. So I guess those are some pretty big ones.
Good question, Sentriel.
Yeah, very good question.
That's it for our podcast today. Good work, everyone. Let's keep on improving. We'll see you on the Rift.